Welcome everyone! It is Farmer Cop here. We're going to talk about the Farming Simulator 16-bit edition. They released a blog post as well as this trailer, which I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer for you right now, and then we'll get into it. All right, so now that you've seen that, let's talk about the blog post here. So first off, too, I want to say you can order this if you'd like to, and you can use the affiliate link down below if you want to go to support the channel, or use code FarmerCop, of course, at checkout. It's not very much money. It's only a few bucks, if I remember correctly. It really is pretty cheap for what it is. And it's pretty fun, actually. I did a little members-only series where I played on the game, and I will actually release that starting about 30 minutes after this video comes out. So if you are watching this at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time or later than that, wherever you're at, it'll be out now. But I'll start releasing some of the members-only episodes I did on the 16-bit edition, just so you guys can see some more gameplay if you want to. But it actually is quite fun. I really enjoyed it. But let's take a look at the blog post here. So it says, Farming Simulator 16-bit edition interview with Renzo, our retro dev. If we scroll down a little bit here, it says, how far has Farming Simulator come since 1989, right? Well, if your favorite agricultural simulation existed back then, obviously Giants was founded in 2008, so they didn't actually make a 16-bit edition game like at that time, but they made one right now, which is pretty cool. If you weren't around then or just missed out on the reign of the 4th generation consoles and the glory of the 16-bit era, you can go back in time and play Farming Simulator 16-bit edition right now. Let's talk about our retro-loving developer, Renzo, lead level designer and co-owner of Giant Software. He has been with the company almost since the beginning back in 2008. Fun fact, this is almost as far from now as the year 2008 was from the 16-bit era. So some of you have the right to feel old now, which is insane. Yeah, anyhow, let's take a look at a couple things here. You see the 16-bit edition, this is the new version of it here. You can see some of the controls here, but it's just great. It's all great. You don't actually need a controller either. They make it as traditional as possible. It says, farm like it's 1989. You can get in our shop for PC or included in the collector's edition. So if you get the collector's edition, it'll come with it. So no need to get a dedicated 16-bit console from the basement or flea market. You can get an authentic 16-bit experience. You really do for that. Retro backgrounds pixeled by hand. Soundtrack by Chris Hulsbeck. Digitized engine sound effects. 3 maps to play simultaneously and 14 machines with pre-rendered sprites. Get retro. Then we get some more information here so you can see you can cultivate, you can sow. Then you wait, and it grows pretty quick, and then it'll be fully grown on there, and then you can just keep rinse, repeat, make some money off of that. And again, you have Greenwood, Eldman Fields, and Hillowdale, and you can buy those maps as you get going, which is pretty cool, actually. And then, of course, down here, here's a map overview of this is the first map. I think this is the first map? No. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But anyhow, this might be part of the first map or something. I think there's more to it, but I could be wrong. Anyhow, yeah, you can see here, you can upgrade your farm equipment, stuff like that, which is super cool. Talking to Renzo, lead level designer and retro lover. Renzo, tell us a bit about you and your position in the company. Hi, I'm Renzo. I'm the lead, and if you don't care about this, you can obviously just call it a day with the video, but I'm going to read it anyways because I think it's interesting. It says, hi, I'm Renzo. I'm the lead level designer and co-owner of Giant Software. I've been with the company almost since the beginning in 2008. What motivated you to create the retro version? When the idea of Mega Drive versions came up, I knew it was unique, almost once in a lifetime opportunity. As a retro gamer and hobbyist retro developer, I just had to jump at the chance not only to contribute to the game, but actually make it. This motivated me to create an early prototype over the course of a few weekends. I had never made a Mega Drive game before, and my last forays into C coding have been years ago. So the prototype also served as a benchmark to see if I was up to the task, which is awesome. Yeah, what do you personally associate with the 16-bit era, and what does it mean to you? Well, I'm old enough to remember the era. I never owned a 16-bit console back in the day. I had a C64 in 1990, which was already ancient technology then. I used to enjoy looking at the screenshots of 16-bit console games in print magazines, and I was a little jealous of how much better the graphics were compared to what my C64 could display. A decade later, I finally got to play the 16-bit console games I had seen in the magazines, and seeing those still images come to life, so to speak, was very nostalgic for me. The first time I played those games is now over 2 decades ago as well, so I feel doubly nostalgic for the 16-bit era, and I'm feeling old. How did you create the game? Any special software, programming language, etc.? I programmed the game in C and used SGDK, an open source development kit specifically made to create Sega Mega Drive and Genesis games. SGDK took care of most of the low-level stuff, allowing me to concentrate on the game. For the map background and graphics, I used Aseprite, a pixel art editor that had recently introduced or had been introduced to tile map layers. This was perfect timing because the graphics of the Mega Drive are all tile-based. As for the vehicles, I took the 3D models from the main game, simplified them, and rendered them in Blender, which is awesome. What aspects of the classic 16-bit games in general did you try to capture in this game? I chose an isometric perspective inspired by the Strike series of Mega Drive games, Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, Urban Strike. The controls are similar to many isometric games and work well with the Mega Drive standard 3-button controller. I hand-pixeled the background graphics while using pre-rendered 3D models for the vehicles and tool sprites. Doing these by hand would not have been feasible in the game or in the given time frame. Several Mega Drive games use a similar combination of styles, and this lends the game an era-authentic look. Graphically, I didn't do anything that couldn't have been done back then. I could just do it faster thanks to modern software tools. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he spent a lot of time making it, but it's still pretty cool. Tell us about the music. Another important aspect, of course, is the music. The industry legend Chris Hulsbeck composed the game's soundtrack, and when I heard it for the first time, I was immediately transported back to the heyday of 16-bit consoles and computers. The music alone lends the game an authenticity that makes you believe the game was actually released in the 90s, which is super cool. And it does make you feel like that. I'm not that old, but it does make you feel old just playing it. How did you choose which gameplay features to adapt to fit the retro style? Since we wanted the game to have a shop, we created a list of vehicles that would cover all the basic farming steps, cultivating, sowing, etc., and also offer noticeable upgrades within each category. This dictated the features I had to implement. I couldn't make the fields as high resolution as in the main game, so I had to determine the size of a field chunk, the smallest changeable part of a field. It needed to be large enough for all fields to fit in memory, but still small enough for wider tools to make a difference. If you buy a larger seeder, you also expect to sow a larger area. This, in turn, determined the size of the fields and, on a larger scale, the overall dimensions of the maps. The game is not in real 3D, so I simplified how vehicles move and how attached tools work. Because the Mega Drive's regular controller only has 3 buttons plus start, I could only make the most common functions. Like switching vehicles on the buttons, I had to offload all other functions, like access to the shop and garage, into a separate menu. Were there any challenges creating a version with retro hardware limitations? Oh yes, over the course of the project, I realized that memory management is the bane of a retro developer's existence. The Mega Drive's memory limitations mandated many design decisions. For example, I couldn't fit one large map into the console, so I had 3 smaller ones that could be played simultaneously. I also had to limit the number of vehicles that could be on a map at the same time. To alleviate this, I added a garage where vehicles would be stored and moved from one map to another. Anything else that you'd like retro lovers of farming simulator fans to know? For even more authenticity, play the games on a CRT monitor if you can still find one. And it says, stay tuned. Next up, interview with legendary composer Chris Hulsbeck. Until then, get retro. Which is awesome. So really cool. I know some of you guys may not care about this at all, but it is really a fun game. So at least check out my gameplay on it and see if you maybe want to check it out or not. But yeah, that's what I got for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel. And turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.